Hello everybody, and welcome to this unboxing with myself, John from OnTableTop. In this one we're going to be checking out Rubicon Models Tiger 2. Now this is a special kit in my mind because it's one of the first, at least one of the first that I've seen, that comes with an optional full interior, which is interesting because this really does bridge the gap between a scale model and a wargaming piece, because it's 1/56. Rubicon have been doing a whole massive range of 1/56 stuff, and this is one of the first I've seen with a full interior, so I wanted to have a look at it. I actually seen a few of them being put together on a Facebook group, and I thought it's about time I had one of those, so I went and bought one, and this is it. So we'll just open it up and just start talking about it, because I'm very excited to actually get my hands on this, take it home, build it, and see how it turns out. So we'll start with the instruction sheet. And the instructions are so beautifully laid out on this model kit. They're absolutely great. So you can see what the tank looks like without the different parts on it and how the segments break down. And we get a semi-color instruction sheet. This is very reminiscent of a Tamiya kit or a Dragon kit, something like that. The coloration, the layout of everything, it's all pretty straightforward. Shows you exactly where you need to be looking, what parts you need to be going for. And we even get a 5-man crew for this vehicle as well. That's another, what I would consider a rather unique selling point as well, that it actually has a crew with it. So you can place all the crew inside the tank. So for lack of a better phrase, you have a human form in there to scale the amount of size, the amount of space that's inside the tank, so you can take the tops off and look at and go, that's cool, look where the commander sits, look where the gunner is sitting. And overall, I think this is going to be a very interesting model. I've, again, seen a few of them being put together. So next thing is a transfer sheet. We get an immense transfer sheet. We get tons of options in here for different regiments, different units, divisional markings. We get 2 styles of individual numbering. We get set styles as well, if you want to do a particular vehicle that you've seen in a book or some reference material like that. So from there, we'll move on to the sprues. Now, I've taken the sprues out of all their bags because there's a lot to get through. And let's start here. Immediately, we're hit with some of the internal detail here. And what's great is that the transmission, gearbox, driver's compartment, assistant drivers, there's even an escape hatch down there that's visible on the piece, and then moves back into the fighting compartment underneath what will be called the turret basket, where the turret floor will be sat here. These are details underneath it, like the turret drive motors, I believe there are hydraulic pumps and stuff down there. Little boxes of MG ammunition, probably for the coaxial gun or for the gun that sits on the commander's cupola. Talking about the base of the turret, this is our turret floor, which has part of the gun mounting, part of the gunner's mechanism and stuff sat there. Exhaust on the back, tow rope, front glacis plate, which again is nicely molded. Parts to make up, I believe that's the bow machine gun. Some of the Pioneer tools, track jack, or the jack, not the track jack. Track blocks. We then have hull sides, upper hull sides, outer sides. These are where the wheels will be glued on. We have the fenders, massive fenders. I'm probably going to cut those down when I come to build mine. Rear plate, exhaust cowlings, more Pioneer tools, 2 of our crew members. Looks like it could be the gunner and loader on this sprue. And the top of the engine bay as well. Next, wheels and tracks. Because you can't put this amount of detail into a miniature like this and not include an extensive amount of parts for the wheels and tracks, because you get so much more detail in there, such high fidelity parts on these tracks. The wheels done in typical Rubicon style for their big cats. They bridge segments of the wheels together, so you're not going to be intimidated by the amount of loose wheels lying around. There's a few loose wheels in there, but there's a few segments there, at least 2 on each side by the looks of it, that will actually have those little bridging points and make it easier for you to slot those together so you don't get confused and lost. Yep, let's move on from that one. Bit of a heftier one now. Here we have our upper and lower hulls. On the upper hull, I'm not sure if you can see it on our shot, but we actually have the cog-toothed ring around the inside of the turret ring. That'll be the fixed ring where the electric motor or the hydraulic motor will be rotating or traversing the turret. Another part of our engine cover, or the engine bay cover, again, nicely detailed. We have the hatches, or the hatch location for the driver and co-driver. Final drives, which are a separate piece for a change, which is quite nice. Then we have the other three members of our crew. This should be the commander, driver, and assistant driver. Further on up, we have the Sprocket Wheels. We have a few more wheels here, not sure what they are. Could be spares, could be on a different location. And what looks like parts of the idler wheels as well, the rear idlers. All these little pieces, these little hook pieces, are for the spare track holders that will go on either side of the turret, front and back. We'll see those, we'll see their locations in a minute. Parts for the front and rear fenders. A secondary tow rope, towing shackles, more Pioneer tools, and the Bosch headlight for the front of the hull. So far so good, looking really tidy. We have 2 sprues left, and here we have our turret sprue. Internal details straight away again, we have our internal ammo stowage. These look like they're probably interior turret, perhaps, or hull. I think the hull ones are on the next sprue. Our top of our turret, which is the Henschel style turret. I didn't want the initial production one personally. These little notches are the locations for those hooks, I believe, as well, for your hanging your spare track. Obviously commander's cupola and stuff. On the inside we have our interior detail for the lower part of the turret. We have our gunner seat. Yeah, gunner sits on the left on King Tiger. Loader's location, and we have these areas that are cut out to take internal ammo stowage, which will sit into the back bustle of the turret. Moving along, we have the raised, this is a collar, an armored collar to protect the Tiger II's ball bearing race, the actual turret ring, because they realized that was a bit of a weakness at one point. Now, this sprue definitely looks like it takes the initial production turret and the Henschel turret, because we have 2 interiors here, both with different layouts. This is the Henschel. This is the initial production, so you'll understand. This collar and these guards may also be just for the initial production King Tiger. Further on down, front of the Henschel turret, which the gun mantlet and gun are here for, internal parts for the gun. We have the 2 88s. This one, I believe, is for the Henschel gun, and these 2 here are potentially for the initial production turret. So, immense sprue, very immense. This is the one I like. I like this one a lot. We have more internal details. These are the interior sidewalls of the engine compartment. This is the firewall between the fighting compartment and the engine bay. These are your air inlet and outlets. These are your radiator banks that sit either side of the engine bay behind these 2 walls. I believe there's also fuel tanks that would hide underneath here as well. Pipes, gubbins, seats, all sorts. This is your hull, interior hull ammo stowage. So all this stuff needs to be painted and stacked up. Then we have the engine, which is the Maybach HL230. You can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I may be wrong because I don't know my Maybachs that well. I think it's an HL230. We have more radio sets in here. I love the look of the radio sets. That is superbly detailed. And we even have part of the hull machine gun, I believe. That could either be the hull machine gun or the coaxial. It may be the coaxial, I'm not too sure. And then we have structural parts. We have this piece of framework which sits just behind the driver and assistant driver position, but a big metal framework to help support the top roof of the hull. So tons and tons of detail to work with. If you guys have ever thought about, ever wondered what a scale model is like, and you've only been used to wargaming miniatures, give this a try. Really give this a try. It'll teach you a little bit more about how the tank goes together, how little room there is inside one of these things, even though they're immense beasts of vehicles. And I'm really glad that Rubicon have decided to go and do something like this. And I hope it's the start of a trend with them as well, because I'd love to see more interior models. Bang for your buck is excellent at the price I purchased this at. Absolutely superb. I would feel like buying another one so I could do a knocked out diorama or a piece of scenery for one of my tables, knocked out with hatches lying open and stuff like that. And when you get people looking at it, everything's in there. The engine's in there. There's ammo lying around. This kind of kit, this breed of kit that gaps that scale model to wargaming miniature, gives a modeler a good big blank canvas to say, what do I want to do with this kit? Do I just want to have it as a runner? Do I want it to be in part of my army, or do I want it to be a terrain piece for whatever reason? You get tons of idea and inspiration from that, and you can look up Google image searches for knocked out tanks, what they look like, what their, what's happened to their parts, and you can get everything you want for that kind of a project out of a kit like this. Also, you get a tremendous centerpiece for any collection where you just sit there and go, yes, your King Tiger's cool, but can you take the turret off and see where the crew are sitting? Do you have a crew in yours? Just showing off a little bit. One final thing I haven't mentioned yet, this is a little sheet of metal called Photo Etch. This has engine grills on it that will handle either the initial production Tiger II or the Henschel one, again, because these are made for the different types of vent covers and stuff like that. And this stuff, some people will tell you it's very fiddly. Just take your time with it. Cut it out carefully, glue it down carefully, pre-bend it if you need to. But again, it's another level of detail that is, for the lack of a better phrase, just completely missing on other similar scaled vehicles, particularly. Just because it's a wargaming miniature doesn't mean you need to skimp on detail. It's nice having those options there. And in general, I think this is just going to be an enjoyable project to tinker with and get to know what colors I need for the interior of a King Tiger, placing the crew and stuff like that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I have not gone on a big tank rant this time because this kit speaks more to me than the actual Tiger II does. The Tiger II, it's a hammer with a few cracks in it already. It's not going to last long before it breaks. Put it that way. Nice looking vehicle, impressive piece of technology, and Rubicon have recreated that in what I'm looking at the minute as to be one of the finest 156 scale tanks out there on the market currently. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Please put your comments down below. When I get this thing built and painted, I will probably try and show it off to the best of my ability. But anyway, again, thanks very much for watching. See you again soon.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.